Hello, my name is Tunde Okeowo. I'm a PhD student at Northumbria University, also working in collaboration with the sustainability team at Newcastle Hospitals. And my project is looking at the role of hospitals as anchor institutions in achieving improved air quality within communities they serve. Particularly, I'll be looking at, in part, the Clean Air Hospital framework, which is where I sit on supporting the sustainability team. Today, we'll be talking about getting involved as a supplier. But before I go on to talk about getting involved as a supplier uh, at the Newcastle hospitals, it's important for us to have an overview of what it really is, the situation with clean air or air quality in the UK or in the world generally, particularly as it concerns the hospitals. So, quickly, uh, how many trusts do you think we have? How many hospitals are there? And how many of them are positioned in areas with what we considered as clean air according to the World Health Organizations? There are 215 trusts in the UK, and virtually most of them are located in areas with poor air quality according to the World Health Organization standards, where the PM 2.5 is the pollutant. The annual guideline value is 5 micrograms per meter cube, but the large proportion of hospitals in the UK are positioned in areas with air quality PM 2.5 above these guideline values from the World Health Organizations. That's quite unfortunate because air pollution is considered a risk factor for many morbidity and mortality cases, as I would touch on briefly in the forward slides that I'll be coming to in a few seconds. And what really is the contribution of hospitals, you would think, if I mean, hospitals should just provide care, isn't it? Yes, that's what you'd think. But hospitals indeed also do contribute to this dire situation of poor air quality that we find ourselves in the global world, because the hospitals contribute uh, part of the pollution, greenhouse gases emissions, or resultant of some of the hospital operations and activities. And most of the vulnerables in our society do visit the hospitals for care, which doesn't paint a very good picture. If the hospital is positioned in poor air quality environment, supposed to provide care, but is contributing to poor air quality in society, where it should be providing care to people, that's not such a good picture. Hence, there's a need for actions. A quick statistics: if you think that you are exempted, no, you are not, because from the pregnancy stage of our lives as human beings all the way to old age, none of us is exempted from the results or the impact of air quality. And uh, and um, you would say that how bad can it be? But in the next slide right here, we see that the World Health Organization has given us some bit of information from research, and the academia is continually growing in findings and studies that are proving that to corroborate these information, that the impact of air quality is really, really gruesome on the health of all of us, reaching out to every bit of our life. Almost every organ of our bodies is impacted. Chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, for instance, deaths and diseases of this from this disease is 43% attributable to poor air quality. I mean, that's a lot. And when you talk about stroke, 24% of deaths is attributable to poor air quality. The air quality is contributory to these diseases. Lung cancer is not exempted, neither is acute lower respiratory infection exempted. These are alarming statistics that should draw the attention of anyone. And if I were standing right beside you, or perhaps in your face right now, one question that I would ask you is this: mention three people that quickly comes to your mind that are being impacted currently by poor air quality? Do you have names in your mind? Well, I put it to you, I hope you did include your name, because if your name was not in that list, then you need to edit that list. You should be on the list, because each and every one of us, including myself, who's given this presentation at the moment, is being impacted by poor air quality, and therefore there is need for action. To further drill down to hospitals, the healthcare sector is responsible for as much as 5% of the global greenhouse gas emissions, and this percentage can reach as much as 6% in high income nations such as the UK and the United States of America. That's quite a lot. And the NHS travel and transport accounts for as much as 3.5% of the UK's road traffic. And that's quite significant. And in that significance is the power to impact and the power to change. And that's what I'm hoping that after this presentation, you can be inspired to take action yourself as a supplier to the Newcastle hospitals. Yes, the Newcastle hospitals has gone on to declare climate emergency in 2019, and the commitment is going on. But now the hospital is taking a more driven approach to achieve its clean air goals, which is one of the goals that was set at the declaration of this climate emergency. And the Clean Air Hospital Framework provides that self-driven pathway towards achieving cleaner air at the hospital. And this is where you as a supplier gets involved. And you probably are wondering, what really is the Clean Air Hospital Framework? So the Clean Air Hospital Framework was a conceptualization of the Great Ormond Street Hospital in partnership with the Global Action Plan. And the idea was to provide a structured, self-driven support for hospitals towards achieving clean air environment within the hospital itself and the community. It takes the approach of 7 key focal areas, from travel to procurement, design and construction, energy generation, local air quality, communication and training, outreach and leadership, with these percentages as you can see as I project on the screen there. Suffice to say, there are about 215 actions within the Clean Air Hospital Framework. That's a lot of actions. And those actions are supposed to meet with compliance for any hospital or healthcare provider, hospitals precisely like ours, to achieve 100% compliance, which is called excellence, rated from 70% within the Clean Air Hospital Framework. Now, the target of the Newcastle Hospital is to achieve excellent by the year 2025, which is just around the corner. And to achieve this, I am supporting the hospitals towards achieving this excellence. And I have gone on to design a prioritization matrix to help navigate this whole 215 actions to help us achieve the excellence that we want to achieve. Before I talk a little bit about that prioritization matrix, I would want to highlight 2 of the focal areas within the Clean Air Hospital Framework. There's, of course, as we can tell, there are 215 actions, and so it will be a lot to go through in 1 hour. So 15 minutes or thereabout may not be sufficient, but we'll try and talk about the broad, give a broad framework, talk about the framework in a broad sense of it, and hopefully you can have an idea of what it offers. And I can also touch on some of the actions that you can do to support us towards achieving this excellence that we have set as a target. The travel focal areas within the framework has these listed subdivided categories where actions have been classified, talking about hospital travel planning, walking and cycling infrastructure, zero emissions vehicle infrastructure, all the way to reporting progress. And that speaks about commitment. And there are 61 actions within this policy framework. I will also highlight that it also talks about parking for all vehicles within the premises of the hospitals. And as I read through this, I can imagine that you're beginning to see where you might be coming in as a supplier. When we're talking about parking, we're talking about travel to and fro the hospitals, talking about routes to minimize travel. I mean, these all offer opportunities of contribution and impact and an achievement. We are going to be assessing ourselves. We already are assessing ourselves against this framework, and I would tell us in a jiffy where we are at the moment. And with your help, we are able to drive the compliance up a lot higher towards excellence. Another focal point that I want to have a talk about briefly is the Clean Air Hospital Framework procurement policy focus area. Um, uh, it talks about categories of procurement and supply chain management, internal ordering in items purchased, and couriers. And these are the two that I would want to highlight: travel and procurement. Of course, there are other policy areas within the framework, but these two are directly related and highlight actions that you can contribute towards within the framework. I have also highlighted some of the actions in the framework in general, taken from each of the policy areas, and I would highlight the procurement yet again. And we can see that in the procurement bit of the model that I showed on the screen right there, it talks about couriers only use ultra low zero tailpipe emissions vehicle. That's just an example of the action that's required within the framework, and that highlights an action that you can help us towards achieving compliance. So if you would contribute towards achievement of this action, that would be brilliant. But that's just one. There's a lot more. Travel, it talks about new technologies and developed and trialed, such as telemedicine, IT networks, video conferencing, pneumatic tube systems, and so on and so forth. It talked about promising technologies in design and constructions. And so these are some of the actions that the framework highlights where you can contribute to it. The framework is available, and I'm able to share and talk about it further, perhaps during maybe a knowledge sharing session that you might be interested in, and I'm able to update us on how we are moving forward in implementing this framework at the hospital, and how you can even more specifically get involved in your own case as whatever supply you are providing to the hospital. I would want to touch on the communications bit as well, because even though yes, we as the Newcastle Hospital are supposed to drive this primarily, if you would drive it and we will drive it from our end, then we all work together to achieve improved air quality, which is ultimately what we are hoping to achieve as a trust. And so hospital is a key partner with local groups and is committed to developing initiatives and strategies to improve public health. And so if you as a supplier would drive initiatives on your own, in your own sphere, and drive initiatives towards improving air quality in your environment, in your systems, it ripples back to us as a trust that you serve, and then you report it. It all adds up, and your contribution and ours together not only helps us in achieving our goal, but ultimately it does the social good, and it further improves the air quality in Newcastle hospitals and in the community that we all together serve. Um, I will want to finally give an update on where we are at the moment. This is where we are. We have done an analysis and a review of where we are in compliance to the framework. We are currently at 38% compliance achievement of our goal. We're going towards 70, so we're still a way off. But if you would drive up all the actions in your own environment, in your own supply chain, then we would together, and you report it, which is a critical part, we will be able to drive up our own compliance and move towards that 70. Currently, we're doing not too good in energy generation and procurement. and oftentimes it's usually big as a result of contractual well, I would say legacy issues because of contracts that had been signed earlier. Going forward, I know that the contracts are being reviewed and including air quality targets and KPIs. You meeting your KPIs does do a lot of good. And I hope that you would be able to commit to these as we continue in our relationship as our suppliers and trust ourselves. I know that I'm out of time, but here is the prioritization matrix that we have developed. I can talk in detail at another opportunity as I may have with you. We are focusing on the high impact and high ease of implementation quadrant, which is on the top right corner here in this prioritization matrix. And finally, some of the key actions that we have done to monitor our implementations and actions towards improving air quality is to install air quality monitors all over the hospitals, as many as almost 40, making us about maybe the most monitored hospital in the UK. And I encourage that you also can include monitoring as part of the actions that you will do to improve air quality and contribute towards our achievement of our goal, and as well improving our community. It's our community. And that's where I will stop my presentation for today. And thank you for listening. I wish you were there in person, but if you are not there and you're just watching this as a online, then please get in touch. I'll be able to talk more about the Clean Air Hospital framework and how you can further support us and probably drive up compliance in your own organization. Thank you.